want to finish your notes from today. So remember, we just finished these last two, dividing polynomials. Excuse me. So again, what we want to start with on number 4 here is create an open-ended box. Okay, and pay attention again to the first degree of the expression. You know, if it's a 2, then we know we're probably going to need at least 2 of these boxes. Whereas you notice on the next one, it doesn't start with a 2, it starts with a 3. Okay, and there's something else that we need to account for here. Okay, so again, I'm going to take the dividend, okay, what I divided by, and put it on the side, so x plus 5. Okay, and then what I do is I take my first term, and that goes in the first box. Okay, so now I have to think to myself, what do I multiply times x to get 6x squared? Well, 6x. Okay, so that goes on the top. Now I just multiply down. So now 6x times 5 is 30x. Okay, now the next step of what I want to do is think to myself, well, 30, what do I have to add to 30 to get the next term in the expression? Well, I'd have to add 30x plus 1x. So 1x goes up in the next column. And I repeat the steps again. What do I multiply times x to get 1x? Well, just 1. And remember, anytime you end up with a constant here, or a number without a variable, you know this next number here is going to be your remainder. All right, so now I'm going to repeat the steps again. So now I multiply to get the 1 on the bottom, 1 times 5. And then I say to myself, what do I have to add to 5 to get to the next term? 4. Well, I'd have to add a negative 1. Now I finally have a remainder. So you're going to write this out differently. And the first question is, again, is this a factor? Well, now if there's a remainder, no. No, it's not a factor. Okay, but we still end up with a quotient here as our answer, and that's on the top. So 6 and a positive 1, so 6 plus 1. And now what's different here is that remainder, I'm going to write that as a fraction. So I'm going to put negative 1 on top, and what I do is I take what I divided by, and that goes on the bottom. Okay, and that's my final answer. My remainder over what I divided by. Okay, so now for the last one, what I want you guys to notice is that I start with x cubed. But notice that if I start with x cubed, then I should have x squared to follow, but I don't. Okay, so what I need to do is account for that missing term. So I'm going to write x cubed, then 0x squared for the second term, and then complete the expression. Okay, because I'm going to need to know that term in order to finish the rest. Okay, so again, start your box, keep it open-ended. And now that I have a cubed, or an expression that's a degree of 3, I know this is going to take just one more step longer. Okay, so I'll put the dividend on the side, x plus 1. Take your first term, first box. X times what number gives me x cubed? That's x squared. Okay, now multiply through. 1 times x squared is just x squared. Okay, now you have to say to yourself, remember this is a 1. 1 plus what will give me 0x squared? Well, I'd have to subtract 1, so negative x squared, or negative 1. Okay, so x times what would give me negative 1x? Well, that would be negative 1x. Sorry, with negative x squared. Okay, so now 1 times negative 1x, that's going to be just negative x. Okay, so I'm not done. I don't have a constant here. So now I got to go to the next term. I say to myself, I'm going to make this a 1. Negative 1x plus what will give me negative 7. Well, in order to get negative 7, I have to subtract negative 6x. Okay, so I'm going to need another column here. Again, same steps. X times what value will give me negative 6x? It's negative 6. And negative 6 times 1 is negative 6. Okay. Now I know, since I have a constant here, my next number will be the remainder. Okay. So now I go to the negative 6 and I say negative 6 plus what will give me 4? Well, I'd have to add 10. Okay, so that's my remainder. So we know that this, not a factor. That was our first question. Okay, and now I'm going to write out the answer. Again, look at the top. So it's x squared minus x, I'm just simplifying, I don't need the 1, minus 6, and I take my remainder and I put it over my dividend, which I divided by x plus 1. Okay? All right, see you guys tomorrow.